Shadows on the wall, secrets buried deep. Hear the darkness call, cold cases, lost faces, truth behind the lies, footsteps in the silence, evil never dies. Closer to the edge of sanity. Step inside the dark with me. Welcome to the dark reality where the truth is stranger than your dreams. Serial minds and mysteries. Nothing here is ever what it Bucks Paranormal Podcast. Enter if you dare.
Some killers want power. Some want control. Some want recognition. And then there are those who want something far darker. Tonight, on Bucks Paranormal Podcast, Dark Reality, Episode 2, we travel back to the early 20th century Germany, to a city gripped by fear, paranoia and bloodshed. A city where attacks came without warning, where victims were found mutilated, and where rumours spread of a monster who didn't just kill, but drank the blood of his victims. They called him the Vampire of Düsseldorf. This is the true story of Peter Kürten.
Had been plagued by a series of unpredictable violent attacks and murders. The victims included men, women and children, usually attacked at dusk or after dark while travelling alone. Police had a list of possible suspects, eventually amassing around 100,000 documents, but they were not even sure that the crimes were all linked to a single perpetrator. Months prior to the double attack, they'd arrested a man who confessed to several of the assaults and had considered the case closed.
In the late 1920s, Düsseldorf was a city on edge. Bodies began turning up in parks, alleyways and wooded areas. Some were stabbed, some were strangled, some showed signs of extreme violence. There was no clear pattern. Victims ranged in age and gender. Some survived the attacks, others didn't. Panic spread. Parents kept children indoors. Couples avoided walking alone. Police were overwhelmed with tips, rumours and false leads in general. Even newspapers began using a name that would haunt the city. De Vampire van Düsseldorf. Peter Kürten was born in 1883 into extreme poverty. He was one of 13 children. His father was an alcoholic, violent, abusive and terrifying. Peter later described witnessing brutal domestic violence regularly. But the most disturbing part, he claimed his first sexual experiences were linked directly to violence and blood. As a child, Kürten strangled animals, he stabbed playmates, and he fantasized about death. And he enjoyed it. This wasn't learned behaviour alone. It was something darker taking root.
Peter befriended a local dog catcher who tortured and killed the animals he collected from the streets. That same year, Kürten allegedly committed his first murder. On a log raft with friends, he pushed a boy he knew couldn't swim into the water. When a second child tried to save the boy, Peter held the boy's head underwater. Both boys drowned, but their deaths were ruled an accident by local authorities.
Kürten committed his first known murder at just 9 years old. He drowned 2 young boys while playing with them. There was no investigation, no consequences. And as he grew older, his violence escalated. He committed arson, sexual assaults, attempted murders. He spent years drifting in and out of prison, but was never monitored after release. Each time he came out, a lot worse than when he went in. More controlled, more deliberate, and much more dangerous.
On the 25th, 1913, he burgled the apartment above a tavern owned by the Klein family in his hometown of Mulheim. In a bedroom facing the stairs, he found 9-year-old Christine Klein asleep. For no discernible reason, Kürten strangled the child and slashed her throat. Later, he told a psychiatrist that he found the sound of her blood dripping onto the floor arousing. After sexually assaulting the girl, he fled, not bothering to hide the evidence of his perverted crime. The next day, Kürten returned to the area of the Klein's home to listen as locals discussed the murder. An uncle who'd recently had an argument with Christine's father was the prime suspect, and Kürten took much enjoyment in following the case. The uncle was eventually cleared due to lack of evidence, but Kürten revelled in knowing he could create pain for many people through a single death. Following Christine Klein's murder, he continued to burgle homes in and around Düsseldorf. On several occasions, he encountered witnesses whom he hit with an axe, though they survived. In July, he used a skeleton key to break into a home. In one room, he found 3 beds occupied by sleeping people. In one was teenager Gertrude Franken. Despite the possible eyewitnesses sleeping just feet away, Kürten strangled the girl for several minutes before leaving.
Between 1929 and 1930, Kürten went on a spree of attacks that terrorised Düsseldorf. He stabbed men and women at random. He attacked children. He strangled his victims with wire, ropes, or even his bare hands. Some survived, but carried lifelong trauma. Others didn't. In multiple attacks, Kürten drank the blood of his victims. He later described experiencing sexual pleasure from the act. This wasn't rage killing. This was a ritual.
When Maria led the police to number 71 Mettmanner Strasse, Kürten was gone. But on May the 24th, police received a surprising tip. Peter Kürten's wife, August, said her husband had confessed to attacking Maria Budlik, and the other victims who'd been brutalised in the months prior. The next day, police arrested Kürten during a pre-arranged meeting with his wife near a church. In police custody, he confessed to his crimes in excruciating detail. With a near photographic memory, he outlined the layout of rooms, the subtle twists of knives, and the sound of blood dripping from wounds. When his confession was complete, investigators glanced at each other in horror. The man sat in front of them had admitted to nearly 70 crimes, including 9 murders and 31 attempted murders, and he seemed ecstatic about it.
Peter Kürten was married. His wife, August, suspected something was deeply wrong. He confessed disturbing fantasies. He disappeared at night. He returned with unexplained injuries. Eventually, Kürten told her the truth. He admitted to murder. He admitted to drinking blood. And August did something extraordinary. She waited. And then she went to the police. In 1930, Kürten was arrested, which followed shocked, even seasoned investigators. He confessed calmly, in detail, without any remorse. He described his murders clinically. He spoke openly about bloodlust, sexual arousal, and control. Psychiatrists examined him, and their conclusion? They said he was fully sane and fully responsible. Peter Kürten's trial captivated Germany. Crowds gathered daily. Newspapers printed every single detail. Victims testified. Survivors spoke. But Kürten, he showed no emotion. In 1931, he was sentenced to death. But before execution, he made one final request. He asked that his head could be preserved for scientific study, so doctors could understand why he was the way he was. The request was granted. Peter Kürten was executed by guillotine in July 1931. His head was preserved and examined for decades, but no physical explanation was ever found. No tumour, no deformity, just a human being capable of unimaginable cruelty. Now, the vampire of Düsseldorf wasn't a myth. He wasn't supernatural. He was a product of violence, neglect, and unchecked escalation. This case changed criminal profiling forever. It forced law enforcement to recognise patterns and not just crimes. Peter Kürten proved something terrifying. You don't need claws to be a monster. You don't need fangs to be a vampire. Sometimes the first is psychological, and sometimes it never fades. Now, next time on Bucks Paranormal Podcast, Dark Reality, we return for episode 3, and we return to the UK, to a case where letters taunted police, fear spread through communities, and a killer may never have been caught. But until then, lock your doors, trust your instincts, and remember, the real horror is human. Well, thank you for listening to episode 2 of Bucks Paranormal Podcast, The Dark Reality, all about Peter Kürten, the vampire of Düsseldorf. Now, this was a long time coming since the first one did release. The first one, guys, if you've not listened to it, is all about Fred and Rose West. Now, that's a brilliant episode, but because it's got real police interviews and real police body camera footage of Fred and stuff that was going on at the time, Facebook wouldn't allow it to be posted, TikTok wouldn't allow it, even YouTube wouldn't allow me to post it. So that is only available on my Spotify, and that is also Bucks Paranormal Podcast. But that is the only way you can watch that one, and I'll really advise you check that out. It's a lot longer, and in my opinion, it is a lot better. But I'm trying to do one of these type of little episodes. I was trying to do it once a month, but it does take a lot of work to do the more in-depth stuff. So yeah, these sort of criminal, serial killers, unsolved mysteries, etc. Hopefully we'll get one out every 2 months, on top of all the podcasts with, guests and the investigations I'm doing and the true stories of different places. I'm trying to do a lot in between work as well. But thank you for watching, do appreciate it, and we'll catch you next time.
Whispers in the night, shadows on the wall, secrets buried deep. Hear the darkness call, cold cases.